Hello, how are you all? Welcome to the live stream. Hello, how are you guys? Welcome to the live stream. I'll let you sort of foil on in. Oh, very cool. Hi, how are you guys? Welcome. We'll get started here in just a minute. I'm going to let people come in. Nice. Things to talk about. Hi. Computer's being a little bit slow, but that's okay. There we go. We're back. Are we buffering? Hello, how are you all? Oh, actually, hold on. Let me turn this off. Hold on. Okay. I had an air... I was about to say I had an air machine on. I don't think you would call that an air machine. But I don't even know where to start. There's a lot of news to get to today. So Trump, within a matter of, I don't know, a week, he managed to get a ceasefire with India, Pakistan. So there was that. He brought the last American hostage home from Hamas, who just came home today, which was amazing and beautiful to see. He announced that he was going to be bringing refugees from South America, which, by the way, that's one of the one places I agree with bringing refugees from. I will never tell you, like, I think that we bring in way too many refugees. We bring in a lot of fake refugees, but the people from South America, those are actual refugees. And the first group of South American refugees came in, and they were greeted, and it was filmed. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I fully support that. So that happened. We had a meeting that was brokered with Ukraine and Russia that hopefully will be happening later this week. We had a trade deal with China, a trade deal with the UK. We had an announcement that this is probably one of the biggest announcements, which I'm going to play you audio for. One of the biggest announcements was the lowering of the prices of pharmaceuticals. NPR calls them colonizers. I know. It's so frustrating, and the media has not reported on them. This is one of the first things that I started looking into, is what was going on in South Africa. And they're being murdered. These farmers are being murdered. And the beauty is of them coming into our country, we need farmers. We actually need farmers. And I know people say we need workers, we need this. We actually need farmers. Not tired of waiting. I'm not either. Hi, Plains Drifter. I'm not tired of winning either, and we actually need people that want to farm. These are people that would be respectful of American values. They would uphold American values, and they would do things like farming, which is what we desperately need. We need farmers. So I love it. I think it's a beautiful thing. They were welcomed. Here, I'm going to show you a video. Let me see if I can pull one up for you guys. But it's a beautiful thing. Trump needs to bring them here and dollar for dollar subsidize it. Yep, I agree it. I think it's a smart, first of all, it's a kind thing and they deserve it, but it's also a really smart thing. They're going to benefit our country. These are not people that are going to suck off the teat of the government. These are not people that are going to live in urban areas and live off welfare. These are people that probably they want their own homes. They want to live in probably areas and they want to farm. That's what they do. So it's just a beautiful thing. Let's see what we can pull up for you guys. Here, oh, yay. Here we go.
Welcome to the United States of America. A lot of you, I think, are farmers, right? When you have quality seeds, you can put them in foreign soil and they will blossom, they will bloom. And we are excited to welcome you here to our country where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then when we will benefit alongside you.
How cool is that? And they're right. There is a documentary.
Welcome to the United States of America.
There is a documentary. It's free on YouTube. If you're not up to date with what's happening in South Africa, it did come out a few years ago, but it will help to educate you on what's going on. It's called Farmlands, and they'll let you know what's happening in South Africa. Here we go. Here's hold on, let me find another video for you. See what I can find for you. This is an actual genocide, by the way. I'm gonna cry. This is an actual genocide. Sorry. Okay, hold on. We're not done. Oh yeah, this is what their leader.
So the mayor of DA in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Suni will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
I'm willing to condemn murder, more than willing, but not of white people. I'm not going to play in the hands of white supremacists.
Shoot to kill Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa.
Richard said in some places they're already begging farmers to return. Of course they are. Of course they are, because there's farmers and you need the farmers. That's why it's going to do nothing but benefit us to bring these people into our country. These aren't the refugees that are going to live in urban areas and live off welfare. They're not. Maybe for a minute they're going to need welfare, but I fully support these refugees, and I fully support all actual refugees. That's what, it's so annoying. That's what people get wrong about Republicans. It's not true. And by the way, it has nothing to do with their skin color. Yeah, they happen to be white. This has nothing to do with their skin color. These are actual refugees. But here I'm going to show you. Let's look at this. This is them arriving. This is our first group of South African refugees arriving. And they have babies and they have children. There's a documentary called, man, we should almost watch it together, but because it's free, we should almost watch it together. It is a free documentary. Should we watch it? It's called Farmlands. We might watch it right now, actually. We're going to watch it. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Do you guys want to watch it? There's a documentary that Lauren Southern actually made. It's called Farmlands. But there's so much news to get to. I don't know if we want to do that. You've seen it. Okay, you've seen it, so we're not going to do that. And there's a lot of news to get to. But it just, it honestly, like, this is one of those things that I saw. When did that you want to? What are we going to do? What's the consensus? This is one of those things I saw a while ago, and no one paid attention to it. And it feels dark. It feels dark to see something like that, and no one pays attention to it. So to see these refugees coming to America and someone paying attention to this, it's like, it's not vindicating for me, but it's just vindicating for what's right. We can pray. Yeah, absolutely. If you play Lauren, you'll get kicked off. That's probably true. Unfortunately. I haven't seen a whole lot from her recently. Where is she gone? We might be able to pull up a few clips, actually. We can maybe pull up a few clips. See if we can do that. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we can pull up a few clips. You've been following the South African genocide for years. Okay, here we go. We got some clips.
Has to be located. We have to fight in order
This
to
is from
achieve
Farmlands, you
as
guys.
the black majority in this country. And the fight has to be located. Taking back the land and expropriating back into the people. And expropriating everything, or rather redistributing everything equally. And a society that would embody a value system that puts black people first will have to be attained through confrontation, unfortunately. Because our people have waited for so long, right? We've waited for so long, peaceful, and nothing is happening in terms of changing our lived experience, right? In fact, the settlers know that very well. So we are already at war. We are already at war. Our people are at war in farms now.
White people and persons like Breitenbach are land thieves, and they have no stake to the society, and the black majority understands that, and we will respond accordingly.
I think black people have been patient enough for more than 400 years of colonialism, and we don't want you to feel pity for us. We are coming for you, and we are going to get everything that you own. It's us.
Farm murders are one of the most gruesome kind of crime scenes that we have to deal with, especially in South Africa. Farm murders are intentional. It's not robberies. It's intention. The intention of the attackers is, according to us and what we've seen, is to kill. It's been classified, especially on the crime stats as well, that it's attacks or robberies, burglaries. But because there is no statistic for farm murders currently in South Africa, the brutality of the farm murders in South Africa is undescribable. We found pieces of nails being pulled out. We found hands being removed from bodies. We found people raped, brutally murdered, babies, children, the farmers trying to protect their families, and there's just no stopping. The farm murders are brutal. Another one that stays with me is in Johannesburg, just outside Johannesburg. We had a farm murder where 5 people came in. It was arranged by their domestic worker. And they drowned the 12-year-old boy in boiling hot water. So we had to remove the skin from the bath as it was peeling off in the hot water. That was a terrible scene. If you look at the worst movies ever made, it's not really a patch against what is really going on there. It's unbelievable.
Wow. Okay, before I'm snacking on, you're gonna laugh at me. I'm snacking on, I have a bowl of black beans and cheese. That's literally what I'm snacking on. It's literally just black beans and shredded cheese. That's why I'm like, I could totally be poor, because this is how I eat.
We have to fight in order to attain freedom as the black majority in this country. And the fight has to be located.
And then I'll take tortilla chips and dip them in it. Just black beans and shredded cheese. And that's what I eat. Yeah, that's how I eat. I made a chicken and waffles on my live stream this morning. Jalapeno slices and cheese. Oh, that's a good idea. I love jalapenos. Jalapeno slices and cheese. That's a good idea. Oh, Lauren's got the whole documentary. She's got the whole documentary for free on X. You can watch it on X or you can watch it. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But you can watch it on X. Or you can watch it on YouTube for free. You don't want to watch the whole thing, do you? That's not yuck. You're yuck. Do you want to watch the whole... Should we... I don't know if we want to watch it. Actually, this is interesting.
However, I would much rather...
Well, here, this is interesting. We'll watch this. Here's a compromise. We'll watch this. It gets rough in the morning. I had deviled eggs for breakfast this morning because we had a cookout yesterday for Mother's Day. So I ate this morning, I ate deviled eggs and chocolate cake for breakfast. All right, here, this is good. This is okay. So we'll do this. We're going to compromise. We're not going to watch the documentary, but here is Lauren Southern being interviewed. So we'll watch this together, you guys. Lauren Southern being interviewed about farmlands. And yes, there are a lot of other things that happened today. If you want to know, like you guys already know. So Trump had the most insane week. Trade deal with the UK, trade deal with China, ceasefire with India, Pakistan, brokered hopefully a deal with Ukraine, Russia, brought back the last American hostage from Hamas, which he just landed just now, was greeted with hugs by American officials, also made me cry, because I'm a crier. I cry over everything. What else had happened? Yeah, we're lowering prescription drug prices. I mean, it's just, does the guy sleep? I don't know. That's not even all of it. That's just what I remembered off the top of my head. And then the reason I was talking so much about these South African refugees is because the images of them coming to the United States of America just started coming out right before I went live. But here's Lauren Southern. This is a few years ago, and she's discussing her documentary. So let's watch it.
I don't want to live in a completely consumerist society. However, I would much rather live in a society where I even have the ability to break free of that and the ability to sit down and philosophize and read books. And the only way I can do that is in current kind of capitalist societies. I mean, I just got back from South Africa, where they're headed towards a path where I think a lot of people are going to be in poverty and starving because they're planning on confiscating the land from white farmers and redistributing it in a very communist kind of sense, just like they did in Zimbabwe. And what happened in Zimbabwe is everyone's starving and their dollar completely collapsed, and it's brutal living there, right? And that's not what I want either. So capitalism, while not perfect, is one of those things I see as the greater good in the long run.
Sure, and I mean, going forward, and I don't agree with you on everything, but I love your end goal, and I like that you are so passionate and willing to have conversations about these issues, because in the end, I mean, it's so much better than so many people that have, identities. They don't have really any,
I'm like Donald Trump.
beliefs. It's an identity. They heard something on TV, they regurgitate it, and then they just yell Nazi or racist or sexist or whatever you want to call it, throw it at people instead of actually sitting down and trying to hear other people's points of views and trying and looking at the opposite side of their argument in order to actually make their argument better. Now, with that said, I wanted to quickly go into your movie coming out of South Africa, because I think this is a really important film. I've looked into this subject many times before, and there is semi-genocide going on in South Africa of white farmers, of people that, when we're talking about individualism, we're talking about people that aren't part of some giant collective, like, oh, some white guy hurt me once, so let's kill all the white guys, right? Same thing goes for, oh, one black guy hurt me once, so let's kill all the black guys. So can you go into how important it is to acknowledge what's happening, and I guess some might call it what used to be the new America in South America, or South Africa?
Right. So for people who don't know, since the end of apartheid, you've had a party take over, the ANC, and they are a rather communist party, quite explicitly communist, I would say, actually. And so are the other ruling parties. The EFF has about 10% of the vote, and they are so radical that during one of their presentations, they were actually dancing and singing "Kill the Boer," which means kill the white people. That's a party that has 10% of the vote. And the ANC, although they put up a more kind of progressive Raiman Nation image, they are not much better. They're the party that has announced land capture from white people. So there's a very harsh bias against white people from the government, and that goes with this two-prong issue of they're Marxists, and the whites own a lot of land and produce a lot of food and have a lot of money because they produce a lot of food and do a good job on the land. So there's this hatred of wealth, and then there's this extreme tribalism. Doesn't matter what skin color you are, whether you're brown, black, one of the San or Khoi people, or any Zulu, Afrikaner. There's such a strong tribalism where people stick to their groups and they do not like other groups, and they just do not get along there. So that two-prong issue of the hatred of wealth and hatred of other groups has led to a brutal murder of South African farmers. And the reason it's farmers is because they're kind of isolated on their land outside of areas like Johannesburg, where if you get attacked, like
Richard.
your neighbor or someone may be able to come over and help you, or the police force is going to be nearby. No, in these farm attacks, what happens is these families that are isolated miles and miles, they have like 3 or 4 men come into the farm and torment them for days, rape them, torture them, just brutalize them. And it's not like a robbery or anything. People will say it's a robbery. The government records them as robberies. However, they don't just take your stuff. They torture you saw style for days. And it's the most disgusting, wicked thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And the media completely ignores it. They call it botched robberies. How you botch a robbery and accidentally slip and rape a whole family and torture a whole family, who knows? But it is absolutely being covered up. The media will not talk about it because white people are allowed to be victims, and the government will not talk about it because of all their anti-white rhetoric, which is of course leading to some of the hatred. And it is just a complete injustice. Genocide Watch, although no one I think right now would call it a full-blown genocide, they put them on like stage level 6. And of course something like genocide is not something you want to have confirmed later on. You want to recognize it in the steps of it building up. So things like the government speaking out against white people, things like people being picked off on their farms and tortured for days and murdered, things like people being put into literal like de facto refugee camps within their country, which they have basically white squatter camps because they can't get jobs because of their skin color, they're being killed. When that's happening, while it may not be genocide in the traditional sense, you want to get in front of it. You don't want to have something like Rwanda, where it's like, oh, how did we not see this happen? Like, it's so, I think it is criminal that the media is not covering this. Absolutely criminal.
What do you think the agenda is that they're not talking about? Obviously, there's a lot of the anti-white agenda playing out in the media, which really will just lead to further race wars in the long run. And I mean, that is creating the divide that the media is claiming, oh, well, we want to stop this divide. Meanwhile, they're literally creating it by reporting on some things and then not reporting on incredibly important stories like this. What's the agenda?
No one wants to recognize that the Rainbow Nation failed. You can't be in the mainstream media, and I've said for years, build statues of him, worship the very ground he walks on, and then say the Rainbow Nation is going to be the Garden of Eden on Earth, and then admit it failed and ended up being a complete anti-white, racist amalgamation of people who have the highest crime rates nearly on Earth. And actually, farming in a South African farm is one of the most dangerous jobs on Earth these days. So to admit that they were so wrong about something that is such a held up prize within the progressive agenda is just untenable for them.
That's Lauren
Unbelievable.
Southern,
Can you tell
you
people where they can find this film? Because I've been really excited. I saw the trailer, and I mean, you did really dangerous work. No one can ever say you're not passionate about what you do, because that looked very dangerous.
You can find it on farmlands.online, and there's also a few mini clips that you can find before the documentary comes out that show just kind of the horrors and brutality that people have to deal with in that country and the state they have to live in. Farmlands.online, or you can go and follow my Twitter at Lauren_Southern, where I will be tweeting updates about everything going on.
Absolutely. She doesn't really sound like a Nazi to me. I really appreciate the time, Lauren. You do great work. And you know, no matter what people say.
All right, that was her documentary that came out. I mean, this was a few years ago, you guys. Let me see if I can find you a trailer for it. Here we go. Here's a trailer. Oh, no, that's the whole thing. Man. Oh, here we go.
These are one of the most gruesome.
Are these so much worse?
Farm murders are one of the gruesome kind of crime scenes that we have to deal with, especially while in South Africa. Farm murders are intentional. It's not robberies. It's intention. The intention of the attackers is, according to us and what we've seen, is to kill. it's been classified, especially on the
Hi,
crime stats as well,
Danielle.
that it's attacks or robberies, burglaries. But because there is no statistic for farm murders currently in South Africa, the brutality of the farm murders in South Africa is undescribable.
I
We
miss
found pieces
you.
of nails being pulled out. We found hands being removed from bodies. We found people raped, murdered, brutally murdered, babies, children. The farmers trying to protect their families, and there's just no stopping. The farm murders are brutal. Another one that stays with me is in Johannesburg, just outside Johannesburg. We had a farm murder where 5 people came in. It was arranged by the domestic worker.
Hi,
And
Duke.
they drowned
I'm glad
the
you're
12-year-old
here.
boy in
We're
boiling hot
talking about
water.
South Africa.
So we had to remove the skin from the bath
Ugh.
as it was peeling off in the hot water. That was a terrible scene. If you look at the worst movies ever made, it's not really a patch against what is really going on there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So for anyone that just joined, the reason we led into watching this stuff about South Africa is that we just welcomed the first group of South African refugees into the United States. Here we'll watch a little bit more, but let's look at clips of South Africans that just got here so you guys can get up to date. Very cool. Like, this is really cool stuff. You're gonna like this, okay. These are the South Africans. I could cry. This is one of the first things that I started researching on, was in Lauren Southern's documentary just changed me. And I started looking into this. By the way, her documentary, it's called Farmlands. If you're new, you can find it's free on YouTube. All of her documentaries are free on YouTube. So it's a really good documentary. Yes, I am drinking Diet Coke. I'm like Donald Trump, but look, the goat. I'm the goat. Africa that just got to the U.S. This is how they were welcomed. You're a ginger ale fan. Oh, okay. Oh, I like ginger ale. It's good for your tummy when you're sick. Ginger ale and crackers.
Welcome.
Look
Welcome
at this.
to the
How
United
cool is
States of
this?
America. It is such an honor for us to receive you here today. This is the land of the free.
Hold on.
We know that all of you have faced.
Let me just make sure the volume is all the way up. Okay, we got volume all the way up. All right.
Welcome. Welcome to the United States of America. It is such an honor for us to receive you here today. This is the land of the free, and we know that all of you have faced. I'm Chris Landau. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States. This is my friend Troy Edgar.
Yeah, I'm the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security. Again, welcome. So great to have you guys here.
I know you've gone through a long flight. I cannot believe there are babies and children who are actually so well behaved. This is much better than mine are. So bless you for that. And, I think It's so happy. It makes me so happy to see you with our flag in your hands, and that flag symbolizes liberty for so many of us. Many of us, our families have had a journey not that different from the journey that you are embarking on today. My own father was born in Europe and had to leave his country when Hitler came in the 1930s, and made his way to South America first and then eventually to the United States. So he is an immigrant who actually, was able to benefit from the many blessings of this country. And one of the reasons that I really wanted to go and work for the government is because I wanted to give back to this country that really brought freedom to my family and allowed us to escape a very difficult situation in another country. So, I know that this is going to be, any adjustment in life, any change takes a while to get used to. But I want you all to know that you are really welcome here, and that we respect what you have had to deal with these last few years. We respect the long tradition of your people and what you have accomplished over the years. And I am sure that you will be successful. As you know, a lot of you, I think, are farmers, right? When you have quality seeds, you can put them in foreign soil and they will blossom, they will bloom. And we are excited to welcome you here to our country, where we think you will bloom, and we will hopefully allow you to have fulfilling lives for your children, and then we will bloom and we will benefit alongside you. So thank you very much for coming here.
Yeah. I would like to add, again, on behalf of President Trump, Secretary Noem, we're just so grateful that you guys are here. Everybody within DHS, we've been so excited to be able to get you guys here to process, to vet, everything, so you guys get a really warm start. After I was tracking your flight, 12 hours that you were last night. I'm like, oh my God. So thank you for just the patience of being able to get here. Very similar to Chris, as our Secretary Landau, is that my wife came from Iran, same thing, persecution, Christianity, and she's come here. She now speaks 5 languages. She's a school teacher. She's a great American story, and we're so grateful. I think Chris and I both just wanted to come and make sure that we greet you guys, we meet you, give our contact information to you, and if there's anything that we could do, we just want to welcome you personally. We look forward to, after this, to be able to spend a little bit of time with you and get to talk to you guys. So thank you guys.
Yeah, very cool. How cool is that? Very cool. And like I said, these are people, they have the same values as us. They're farmers.
I could guess. I mean, I think it's... So what's the difference?
By the way, we desperately need farmers. We desperately need farmers.
So what's the difference between the refugees that they're talking about here and those refugees? I could guess. I mean, I think everyone...
They're white.
They're white. Thank you.
They're white.
They're
yeah,
white. And
that's what they're going to say. Yep.
Look, if that is how you feel, fine, then hold the line.
Hi, Glenn.
But there are people all over the world, even people in this country right now, who are who have sought asylum, who are going through the process of asylum seeking, and have been detained by ICE and are being deported. There's also a genocide happening in the Congo right now that I don't see any Congolese being getting relief to come to this country. So there are Afghans that helped us in Afghanistan that we have left behind.
A genocide happening in Congo. We got to be careful about acknowledging
that
there's
not
a genocide in South Africa.
That's right. There is no genocide.
Of course, we're agreeing there. I mean, certainly there are white people in South Africa who have been victims of crimes. That happens all over the world. That certainly does not entitle someone to the level of persecution to be entitled to asylum in the United States. When we, as a nation, are turning away people, forget the woke stuff. I mean, literally, people who assisted the United States military in Afghanistan are not being admitted to this country now in favor of white South Africans under some genocide narrative that is just nonsense.
That's what they're going to say. And you guys, we're just going to get ahead of the narrative. That's exactly what they're going to say. It's going to say it's because they're white people. That's why there's being in. And then do you see what he tried to say? This false genocide narrative. No, it's not a false narrative. I just showed you. There is no false narrative.
So what's the difference between the refugees that they're talking about?
If there is an actual refugee, it's these people. And you could argue other people as well, but this is actually a refugee situation, and that's what they're going to say, because the media refused for years. That's why a lot of people don't know about it, because the media refused to report on it. And I think Donald Trump actually, hold on, let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. I think Donald Trump called the media out today about it. Yeah, here we go. Let's watch this. Donald Trump called them out about this today.
South Africa leadership is coming to see me because they're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people and to escape from that violence and come here.
Yeah, he's right. They're not reporting on it. They're not writing about it. The only reason I even knew about it is because I happened to be a fan of Lauren Southern at the time. And she put out that documentary, and I happened to watch it. Here's a couple right here that fears their safety. Here we go. So you guys have ammo for your friends that are like, no, this isn't real. Here we go, right here.
Donald J. Trump. My name is Belani.
This is a couple who fears their safety.
Donald J. Trump. My name is Belani, and with me is my husband Armand. And we are addressing you as South African refugees seeking your assistance and intervention. The situation in South Africa has become increasingly dire, and we fear for our safety and the safety of our family. Since the end of apartheid in 1994, South Africa has faced numerous political challenges. The government has struggled to maintain stability, and the country has experienced significant political dangers. Corruption, mismanagement, and the lack of effective governance have created an environment where crime and violence thrive. The militarization of political parties and the increasing political risk profile of the country have only exacerbated the situation. My husband served as a K9 police officer during South Africa's tumultuous political shift in 1994. During this period, he acted as a first responder to numerous incidents of violence, including those of farm murders. The mortifying images of the crime scenes he attended as a police officer will likely remain with him for all of his days. He worked tirelessly to uphold law and order amidst the chaos, despite the constant threats to his life. He was stabbed, shot, thrown from a second-story balcony, mercilessly beaten, every rib broken, ran over by a taxi, and left for dead in a stream. He made sacrifices for a country that doesn't value his life or his worth as a citizen. His experiences in this role have given him a profound insight into the ongoing violence and the incidents and the deeper understanding of the dangers that we face. Mr. President, the violence that pervades South Africa is not just random or incidental, but often targeted. farm attacks have become a grim and frequent occurrence, particularly affecting those residing in rural areas. I am a farmer's daughter, Mr. President, and the grim realities have been part of my existence since birth. As someone who has lived and worked within these communities, I have personally experienced 3 separate farm attacks, of which I miraculously survived them all. This, Mr. President, is the bullet that was meant for my head. It is the only one of multiple that was meant to eradicate me from this earth and from my home, and only one of multiple attempts on my life. I have personally experienced an attempt at carjacking. The nature of my job requires me to travel from our farm, about 3 hours away from the city, to attend courses. My husband no longer allows me to attend my courses unescorted because of the high dangers we face as women in this country. Mr. President, heaven forbid you find yourself stranded with a flat tire on any road within South Africa as a minority female. The reality of carjackings, kidnapping, rape, murder, often simply because of our skin color or gender, is simply a part of our life. This is not living or even merely existing, Mr. President. This is a targeted rat race in a maze designed to keep us hostage and trapped, with the only eventual outcome of being gathered and killed in the barrel they contained us in. It is not a question of if we die, Mr. President.
Wow.
It is a question of when. Mr. President, we have both witnessed the devastating impact of these attacks firsthand. The fear of persecution and potential violence continues to loom over our family daily. Mr. President, our government creates an unlivable environment for its citizens due to racial discrimination laws, creating poverty and unemployment, and it becomes almost impossible for many to provide for their families. Due to these discrimination laws, we are just but one family that struggles with unemployment. The dire need to survive and ensure our loved ones have basic necessities often forces many individuals to resort to less legal means of obtaining an income. However, the government response to this is often punitive and punishing those who are already suffering from systemic injustices. We are reaching out to you, Mr. Trump, because we believe that you understand the importance of protecting the rights and safety of all individuals, regardless of their race or their nationality. We are a hardworking couple with valuable skills. We want to be a part of a country and a society where justice, equality, and safety reigns. Mr. President, we long for the American dream that we hear about. We want to be contributing citizens to a country that puts God, country, and family first. Our family shares your values you envision for your own citizens. Mr. President, my government or its serving bodies within have no right to speak for me as a South African citizen, especially when their motives and plans for this country do not include equality and justice, equality and safety, and the opportunity to work and live equally. I speak for myself and my family when I say that we need your help. We humbly request your assistance in addressing the plight of the minority South Africans, and more particularly so, my family, who are facing persecution and violence in our own country. Your support and intervention could make a significant difference in our lives and help us find safety and security. Thank you, Mr. President, for your time and your consideration. We understand that you are busy, not changing just one country at a time, but you have your plate full with.
Going on for a while. I mean, I first heard about it in 2016, so almost 10 years this has been going on. It's pretty brutal. No. Yeah, so 49 people arrived today from South Africa. They arrived in Washington, D.C., and were admitted as refugees. No, they don't talk about it in the media.